For our next trick, we are going to model the hood, or at least the area where the vents are going to be. And if we look at let's look at some reference here. Always good to check the reference. The hood goes all the way back to about here with a slight gap. So there's sort of that body panel that comes up. There's a seam there that goes forward a little bit into this area. Then there's a hood that comes forward, and that goes up to a piece of brass or something up in the very front. And so what I guess we'll do is go from about here straight down all the way over, and then this is actually where that brass piece would begin. I kind of hid those polygons already. Now, I only want to work on the top right portion of this, and that's kind of important to me right now. So let's go to the Model tab for a second. Select this guy. Let's go to the right view, and actually the top view to start, and let's hide the stuff we don't need. So I'm just going to middle click up here at the top and drag all the way around. Notice that I use the lasso in an interesting way. We get this straight line with the lasso. Make use of that. So by starting this way, I can make a very accurate selection, whereas going down this way, if I do this, it's very hard because I have to be very accurate with my mouse drag. If I do this, I get a much easier selection. So let me take that and H for hide on those, and then go to my left view. And we only need the top piece of this, so let's hide all of these on the bottom. Now that should work fine for us. We'll go back to our body panel mesh here. Let's go to the Topo tab again, left view, and get started. Now this time we're going to use a very different method just to show you another of the amazing tools here in Modo for retopology, which is the contour tool. And so let's grab the contour tool over here. All you do is just drag through your model, and there we go. It's created a contour. If I go to the perspective view, it's just creating a curve that follows the contour of the underlying geometry. Now there are a bunch of points along this curve defining its location. Those are defined here under segments. So I could set that up to 100, for example. Then we're going to get lots of points. We're going to get 100 of them, in fact, which is going to make this a very, very accurate curve. Unfortunately, it's always going to make it very heavy also. And in this case, we have a very smooth, uniform shape anyway. So I think 10 is really as close as we need to be honest. Now, with this tool still running, the intended method for using this is not to drop the tool and pick it back up, but just hold the Shift key and drag another one. This is how you typically use this tool. So I'm only going to do 3 segments here. You could do many more if you have a more complicated shape. And then Shift drag this straight down. And I'll tell you what, this tool is phenomenal for retopologizing things like scan data. There's so much that you can do here. You just throw these curves in space. Once you have those all selected, you don't need to drop the tool or anything. Just come up here and click on the Bridge tool and click in the viewport. That's going to start bridging between those curves. And notice that we get down here a curve dropdown. I can increase the number of steps here to get more or fewer segments to get that to be more or less precise. I'm thinking that I think 10 was probably right about correct, so we'll leave it right like that. What I'm looking at is how well this matches up with the geometry behind it. And then we've only got 2 spans coming across here, and I probably want more than that. So let's go to segments here, and I'll set that up to, let's try 4. That looks more like it. And of course, it's still snapping to that background mesh, which is perfect. So we can hit Escape to drop the tool. And there we have our hood shape. It really is, it's just about that easy. Pretty amazing stuff. That's actually awesome. Okay, so once I have that, then we can do the same thing. Let's grab that topology pen, Shift right drag to just pull back another loop here, Shift right drag to pull back another loop here, and it's going to automatically connect up for us. So what I'll do is just select this stuff and H for hide. Go to the left view, and let's unhide our items. Go to item mode, U for unhide, and then click this. Let's grab these guys, Control click on the body topo and the body panels, Shift H to hide everything else. Then we'll go back to our body panels here. We'll hide this stuff. Grab our topology pen, Shift drag this guy back, and now I can just manually move this stuff back. Now, that seems like a lot of work to kind of manually drag all this stuff back. So let's do this in a more gooder way. So let's make a selection here. We'll just select these edges that we want to move. We'll do our linear fall off from top to bottom, W for move, and then just make sure that you enable the mesh constraint background to point as we've done several times now. And now we can drag this, and there we go. Now that is where we want it, and it's snapping to that background mesh as we go, which is exactly what we needed. I'm going to drop all that stuff, select this guy, and let's make sure that we keep that background constraint turned on. W for move, and just adjust this manually to where we want it. Turn off my snapping there. That looks pretty good. So the one thing I don't like about this at this point is that these are a little bit uneven here. So what we need to do is, first of all, hide everything else. So we're only working with this part of the mesh. Next, we need to select the stuff that we don't want to move. So that's going to be the border, first of all. Let's hit J for lock. J is for lock, just like H is for hide. They're right next to each other on the keyboard. So once I hit J for lock, I can't select those outside edges no matter what I do. And if I hit I for unlock, which is right next to U for unhide, then I'll be able to select them again. Okay? So J and I for lock and unlock, just like H and U are for hide and unhide. Right next to them, okay? So J for lock to lock those down. Also, I don't want to move these ones up top because I want for these to stay nice and straight and perfect. So let's hit J for lock to lock those down. And finally, this bottom part here, I'm just realizing, let's I for unlock because I'm realizing I need to make an adjustment here first. Let's go to my left view. I'm going to grab my topology pen and just pull this over, because I want to even this stuff out a little bit. The border needs to be nice and even before we do the next thing. There we go. So select this stuff, J for lock. I'll select this stuff up top, and J to lock that as well. So now if I select, all I can get is this stuff down here in the middle. Now I can take that stuff, head over to the smooth command, smooth those out, and it's going to reposition those. I'm dragging to the right in the viewport, and that's increasing this iterations number. The more iterations, the smoother this is going to get. And the reason this works well is because we've locked these borders so they don't change, and I've redistributed these points at the bottom so they're nice and even to start with, giving us this nice even result. And also, one thing to watch out for, I did hide all this other stuff, remember? That was an important point. If I hadn't hidden it, then when smoothing, I would have smoothed all that stuff too, which I didn't want to. Let's hit U for unhide. We get everything back. And boy, this is starting to come together. We've really got most of this thing in place at this point. Oh, right. And I'm also noticing that this stuff is probably lower than it needs to be. Let's show those backdrops. Yeah, we don't need all those polys at the bottom. Let's I for unlock. Select this edge loop at the bottom, or this poly loop. Looks like I missed some verts here. Delete those also. And there we go. That is the top body panel. The bottom body panels are going to be pretty much the same as these others. So I'm going to skip ahead, and then we'll catch up after I've done that.